Oh, hey kids! You're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Hey guys, it's me, DJ Dylan in the house, and you're listening to the one and only Jock Podcast. Stay tuned for the world premiere of my new smash hit single. Till then, keep it jockin', Jock boys.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock Podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, drlondonsmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as lymphogranuloma venereum and big. So I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer Cameron.
Okay, let's see. He's cheery, but seems a little mournful today. I guess that would be a D. Hey, Dr. London, do you know your personality type?
Are you talking like one of those Myers-Briggs or Enneagram or whatever?
Yeah, the Myers-Briggs personality test.
The Myers-Briggs or Myers-Briggs?
No, Myers-Briggs personality test.
I'm not familiar with that one. No,
it's by Goodyear, the like car tire company.
Yes.
It's rated on their system for tires.
And I mean, it's amazing. Like I feel like I understand people so much more once I'm able to understand it in these terms. I mean, Dr. London, can I just go through this real quick and we can figure out what you are? Just real quick.
Yeah, okay. I mean, is it just going to measure stuff like tread and...
Well, yeah, that is the first question is, do you think you tread well?
Sure. Yeah, I go jogging.
Okay.
So,
do you often feel deflated?
Sometimes, but not, maybe not super often. It depends.
Okay, let's see.
I feel like a lot of these quizzes are just circumstantial feeling dependent.
Do you prefer high pressure situations or low pressure situations?
I think I can perform well under pressure, but generally I prefer low pressure,
so
I think.
Deflated, low pressure. I mean, this isn't really that surprising. I mean, how often do you get balanced? How often do you get rotated?
Like doing whatever balancing exercises, yoga kind of thing. Not
even
as often
internal
as,
balancing your energies.
like sitting up straight. Yeah, I feel like I have pretty good posture.
So when I talk about balancing like your internal feelings, your reaction to that is, oh yeah, like sitting up straight. That's what you think that is?
Yeah, well, if you sit up straight enough, then the feeling of your insides, your internal organs, they'll align towards the middle or the settle down properly. And if you have bad posture, then they won't be balanced.
So you think when people are talking about feelings, they're talking about feeling their organs inside their body, not like emotions?
Yeah, well, those are two very different categories you just said. Yeah, emotions.
Well, so okay, I'm going to ask you a question that maybe someone's like, you've spoken to someone and they said, that hurts my feelings. What do you think that means?
Well, yeah, in that situation, I've poked him with something or, like...
Okay, so it actually can work both ways. Okay. Yeah, I mean, actually, you might be right about that. I might be wrong about this, honestly. Okay. How is your handling in icy conditions?
Are you talking about emotionally icy or my feelings?
No, I think it has to be. I don't think it has to be freezing. I think it has to be around freezing.
What, like a few above Celsius?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm okay. I have to wear layers. That's usually what happens there.
Gotta wear layers. Okay, so I mean, it seems like if you go in right now, you will get a free oil change. So if you go right now, if you buy 4 tires, you will get a free oil change.
Is that
and that see and knowing
is that full synthetic or is that just
knowing,
regular?
It says wheel weight. Is that what you asked?
No, but I guess I'm not that invested in this. Because my wheel weight. You mean my real weight?
I'm so glad that you took this test, and maybe our listeners can take this test at home too, because now I feel like I know more about. I've known you my whole life, Dr. London.
Yes.
And yet now I feel like I know the real you. I'm hearing you say you're deflated. You only want low pressure situations. You need extra layers when it's cold outside. I mean, these are things that it might take decades for someone to reveal about themselves.
Yeah.
And this is what the Tires Rigs Goodyear personality test brings out in you.
I guess it's good to have that knowledge. It sounds more like a promotional thing than, a diagnostic thing.
Promoting, health, well-being.
Or Goodyear. But,
getting along with your neighbors. Yeah,
anyway,
hanging out at Goodyear. Taking your friends and family over to Goodyear.
Yeah.
Buying some stuff at Goodyear.
So that's our producer, Cameron. Also with us is Digital in the House.
Hey guys, here's my new hit single about Goodyear tires, though they are not a sponsor.
Nope. Not a sponsor.
Dr. London, do you know your personality type? Tires Rigs personality test. It's by Goodyear.
It's by Goodyear.
Like car tire company.
You ever have feelings?
Yes.
You ever think about those feelings and why you have them?
Yes.
It's by Goodyear, like car tire company.
I'm thinking about how Goodyear tires doesn't sponsor me.
I'm so glad that you took this test, and maybe our listeners can take this test at home too, because I've known you my whole life, Dr. London. And yet now I feel like I know the real you. Hanging out at Goodyear.
Not a sponsor.
Taking your friends and family over to Goodyear.
Not a sponsor.
Buying some stuff at Goodyear.
Buying stuff at Goodyear. Not a sponsor.
Later, Cameron tells us that we can expect a special guest who's a lifestyle blogger.
That's right, Dr. London.
Yeah, do look forward to that. And that's really exciting because, we try to bring in, all these medical specialists, these clinicians, but
who is smarter than a blogger?
Yeah, so what I was going to say is sometimes you want someone sort of in between who can relay everything in a more maybe absorbable way, kind of how you helped me to translate these complex medical lessons into something understandable for the average listener.
Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe my job is a little more complicated than the average blogger. Average blogger, medicine blogger has to take these medical terms and then just be able to translate it to a common audience, whereas I have to take a series of, gibberish sayings and you crying and weird confessions and emotional breakdowns that I have to sort of, edit out of all of these episodes and piece them into something, tangible.
My confessions aren't weird. They're just me.
Yeah, they are mean. Most of them are very, very mean, and that's why I have to...
Yeah, they're not weird. Anyway, before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. So I had this physical mailbox in my neighbor's yard, and that's where I've been getting all this listener feedback. So a dog had been living in it, and there was a dog bowl there, in this mailbox. But it's been destroyed, and now I'm, now I've been trying to solve the mystery of what happened. So I've been sleuthing, trying to go around and find the culprit. So who would destroy a mailbox? Now, Cameron has said that it's not him.
Nope.
I have claimed that it is not me, but I've found a set of footprints, and this is unsettling, very creepy, because the vandal appears to have the exact same type of shoes as me. Yeah, down to the size.
I mean, you don't think.
No, I don't.
You don't think that the culprit might have the same shoe size as you? Do you?
Yes.
Maybe it's a clone, or maybe they're just trying to frame me. I don't know. Unfortunately, this isn't a criminal offense, so there's not really much writing on it. But anyway, so I'm trying to figure this out.
It's not your doghouse.
No, it's my neighbor doghouse. It's a mailbox.
Mailbox.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, in the midst of sleuthing, a loose letter from a listener flew through the air and hit me right in the face. The note reads, quote, "Never liked chiropractors. The wife's been seeing one for 7 years and hasn't improved. She has appointments 3 times a week. Sometimes she even has to spend the night with him for extended sessions. But what do I know?" End quote. So, thank you so much for listening to the Jock podcast and writing in. To answer your question, I bet you know a lot. A lot of people sell themselves short on their knowledge. That being said...
He definitely knows where his wife is.
Yeah. So that being said, if your wife has been seeing a chiropractor for 7 years without improvement, perhaps you should suggest trying a different one or an alternate therapy.
Trying a few.
Yeah. If the same thing isn't working that you've been trying for years, sometimes it is time to try something new. In any case, thank you for listening. Now for today's medical topic, Goodpasture Syndrome. Goodpasture Syndrome, more accurately termed anti-glomerular basement membrane antibody disease, is a disorder in which circulating antibodies are directed against an antigen which is intrinsic to the glomerular basement membrane in the kidney, and that results in a type 2 hypersensitivity reaction. So you have these antibodies in your body, and in an autoimmune type of fashion, they attack this particular type of cells that are in the kidney.
Shift.
And what was that?
Autoimmune?
Yeah.
I do shift.
As opposed to, are you saying like stick shift?
Yeah, like manual.
Yeah. No, for me, so I'm referring to the immune system, and then autoimmune is, it's the body attacking itself is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean nowadays every single person's like that, just autoimmune. It's not like it used to be. Used to be if you knew your body, it could be manual.
I guess I'm not okay. So you're seeing your own body as a vehicle to maneuver to. Okay. What do you think?
What do you think is going on?
Well, when you talk about the autoimmune, it sounds like you think you're physically handling your immune system.
Yes. Your immune system is the part of your body that controls the rest of your body. Sort of like I don't know, you want to say like a skeleton, like RC situation?
I'm not as familiar. You mean the brain? The brain controls the body in a general sense.
The brain is the thing that's at the top part of the body, but the rest of your body is controlled by your autoimmune system. If you're one of these kind of like weak millennial types who you can't figure out how to control yourself, so you've got to have everything automatic.
Yeah, there's such a disconnect. Anyway, so that this disorder it manifests in hemorrhagic pneumonitis and a glomerular nephritis that is typically associated with the crescent formation. So ultimately, renal failure is a complication of the proliferative glomerulonephritis, whereas the aspect affecting the lungs causes the patient to present with coughing up blood, or hemoptysis, and difficulty breathing, also known as dyspnea. Diagnosis of Goodpasture Syndrome is made by tissue biopsy with serologic evidence of antiglomerular basement membrane antibodies. So, the downside to this is, prognosis for Goodpasture Syndrome is poor. Treatments may include plasmapheresis, cyclophosphamide.
Well, the downside is you're using more energy.
You're saying if you don't do it manually.
Yeah, to just rely on these systems that to handle yourself automatically instead of actually taking things under your own control. And this is what's wrong with people today.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a big disconnect, because we did a medical lesson on the brain once, where
the top part of the immune system.
It's just okay.
This is I have been taking this class for so long now. This is the information that I have acquired from you and learned from you. If there's a disconnect here, then it's the curriculum.
Yeah, it's my okay. No, you're you're right. I'm only
taking this class because my dad is making me, because he's making me follow in his footsteps.
This is you never.
What
talk
about mine?
Your father. Wow. Okay.
What about my footsteps?
So, and I don't want to interrupt this, but I have one more word that I was gonna, say from the medical lesson, which is, corticosteroids are another treatment. But we can go back to your father. Was he a podcast producer?
Yeah, he was sort of a podcast producer pioneer. Actually, back in the back when Carson was doing it, and
I know you always
days
talked
of podcasting.
Wow. I mean, you talked about relatives. You talked about the family being in this business for so long. Yeah, and that podcast used to be in black and white.
We're an old podcasting family. I mean, we come from generations of podcasters, and we have I respect sort of new podcasting people, but
the Civil War podcasters you talked about.
Kind of the it's a different level of class, I should say.
Yeah. Okay. And so, it sounds like that's bringing up some kind of tough memories. So maybe, if you'd like, we can talk about it. But also, if you'd like, we can move on.
I say let's do both. Let's move on. And then whenever I feel like it, I'm just going to start shouting things out.
Yeah. Well, and, maybe this lifestyle blogger will have some lifestyle adjustments for you to make.
Maybe.
To help you. Yeah. All right.
All right, let's see.
Let's go move on. All right, Cameron, you said that we had a guest today, a lifestyle blogger. Is that right?
That's right, Dr. London. I can promise you that this person has blogged more than any of our previous guests' blogging experience combined.
Wow. I don't, I didn't ask that of our past guests, but good. Really,
I mean, what does this note say if it doesn't say find someone with the bloggiest blogs of blogs? You wrote that, right?
Yeah. Well, I write a lot of notes.
I can't read your handwriting most of the time.
Well, it's sorry.
Can you?
It's kind of a doctor thing. Are you sure that wasn't just a picture I drew?
Oh, I thought that was like a coincidence.
Yeah.
Why were you drawing a picture of a weeping Virgin Mary?
Well, she was sad. All right. Hello there. What was your name?
Hi, I'm Aimee Tambourine. Thank you so much for having me on today. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Just happy to have you.
I appreciate the invite to come on. And in case you're wondering, my Myers-Briggs type is all-wheel drive, which means that I'm powertrain capable and need to be rotated every 3,000 miles.
Not a sponsor.
Wow.
Okay.
And let me add that to my list because I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep track of everyone here on this so that way I can reference it before I speak to them. I don't want to learn people through conversation or getting to know them or finding out the intricacies that make them. I want 7 words that describe them in different orders that I can just look at and then just say, that's you.
Mm-hmm.
I've saved so much money on that and so much gas
But-
because my tires are getting great mileage right now.
Well, I would say one of the things that's been more difficult about it is for each, personality type, you're having to carry a different tire to meet with them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's part of the quiz or if that's something you just undertook on your own.
They said that I have to do that 8 hours a day.
Carry a tire to match whoever you're talking to.
And then offer them the free oil change.
Yes. Not a sponsor.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Anyway, so back to our, this lifestyle blogger. So, Aimee, if I can call you Aimee, what do you tend to blog about? Is it, fitness? Is it eating healthy?
Well, like you said, my name is Aimee, and I blog over at 321takeaimee.com. That is the number 3, the number 2, the number 1, and then my name is, of course, AIMEE.com. And I blog about all kinds of things. I have 2 beautiful children. Their names are Amethyst. She is 4. And then our little Zeus is 2. And
Wow.
I am having such a great time being a mom and a blogger, especially now as we move into the holiday season. Dr. London, just like you take care of people's bodies, I believe in taking care of people's emotions and souls. Just like,
And some would say that's even more important than taking care of people's bodies or taking pills or getting rid of diseases, is actually curing the diseases right in here, right in your heart.
well, I agree.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the
heart
other.
is. So I deal with the feelings and you deal with the emotions, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Again, we need to discuss that because there's something fishy about that. But Aimee, can I call you Tammy?
Tammy?
Tambourine Aimee?
Of course. That was my nickname in high school. What was my first one?
Well, wait, did you have like a lot of nicknames?
Oh my gosh.
Or did you just have 2?
I had a lot of them, yeah. I was kind of a drinker in high school, and like that just led to a lot of choices that now that I am a little bit older and a parent, the choices I just wouldn't make today.
Okay, and I think everyone goes through that period where you make sort of irresponsible choices, and then you don't want to pass that on to your kids or your kids to deal with the same stuff you did. I mean, is that do you write about this kind of stuff in your blog?
Not so much my high school life. I'm more focused on like parenting and emotions now, yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've got your hands full with your little crew there.
Oh my gosh. They keep me so busy, but they are honestly the biggest blessing that I have ever had in my life.
What are their tires, rigs, personality?
Oh, Amethyst is she is a unicycle. And Zeus, he is he's not so much a tire as those tennis balls that go on the bottom of the elderly's walkers.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. At 2?
Yeah, I know. He's kind of
Very advanced for his age,
he's kind of
right?
a prodigy, and I hate to throw that around, especially since Amethyst, is a unicycle, and we all know how that might limit her in the future. And I almost don't know if I should be sharing that in public, because I just don't want them to be aware of their differences in intellectual abilities, even at this early age.
You don't want to be gossiping about your kids on a podcast.
But
Here I am to tell you, who cares?
If that's the case, though,
Let's get into the dirt.
Let's get in the
I was going to say, DJ Dylan, would you mind just removing any mention of her having children from the episode? That sounds like the easiest way to deal with this.
Nope.
Or if we could maybe at the top imply that when we say kids, we're talking about small goats.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
And
That'd
in
be
that
simple.
way, kind of, It's like blurring someone's face on a TV show, right? It's not hiding it. It's just kind of scrambling it a little bit.
Yeah, so if you really try, you might squint and figure out what the face looks like, just like on TV.
Sometimes if it's a brand and it's blurred out, you can obviously tell what brand it is because some of those logos are so distinct. But yeah, we'll just go with that. That'll be great. Thank you so much. I really, they're my world. And I do write about them on the blog, like probably too much, but I appreciate you taking their privacy so seriously.
Of course. So the holidays are coming up, and I imagine that, for mommy lifestyle blogger season, a lot's going on at the house.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like we were talking about earlier, mental wellness is so important, and I find a huge part of that wellness is emotional and can be fostered through positive relationships and fun family traditions. Like, what kind of traditions did you two have growing up around the holidays?
Oh gosh. I mean, to call them traditions, I feel like might be illegal.
I don't think calling them that would make them illegal, but if the traditions were, you performing illegal activities, then that part would be illegal.
Well, no, it's more that the argument is self-defense. And so if I call it a tradition, I'm implying that it's sort of planned and happens consistently. And thus it makes what was once legal now illegal. You get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. So maybe
you should describe some of your traditions.
Yeah. So our family would get together and eat like for Thanksgiving. We would come together and each of us would bring a dish. And then, whoever's hosting would be like my grandma. She would, have the turkey there, and we, people would watch football. So I don't know if that's normal or if that's weird.
I've never heard of anyone really doing that kind of stuff. Are you sure? Are you thinking of Thanksgiving? I mean, are you thinking of the holidays, or are you thinking of maybe someone's about to go to jail or something? So you're trying to. I mean, that's what it sounds like. No,
I was talking about Thanksgiving. That was our sort of Thanksgiving.
Yep. No, I hadn't heard of that stuff.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Amy. What or I'm sorry, Tammy. What are some of the traditions you write about?
Traditions are so important to my family. Even though my kids are so young, I just love involving them and hoping that all of these wonderful things that we're doing will be around for years and years and years. I like to involve them in our nation's second most important Thanksgiving tradition, which is right behind, ignoring the history behind the whole holiday of Thanksgiving.
Yeah. We don't have to. Yeah.
No, we don't have to do that. So what I like to do with my kids is pardon a turkey. So we find a turkey that has been raised as normal, which means it's been, getting fed fortified corn and soy to increase its size. And then we find... we usually start with a pool of about 50 to 80. We narrow that down to 10 to 20 by seeing which turkeys can withstand loud noises and flash photography. And then we let the kids choose the final two. We take them to a hotel overnight. And then we pick one up from the hotel and we pardon it.
I'm sorry, just the only confusing part about that. Do the turkeys each stay in their own hotel room alone for the night? And is that to contemplate, their life? What's the purpose there?
The purpose there is I just really want them really comfortable. And they are escorted by people who run the farm where they grow up. So actually right down the road from us, there is a farm and our neighbors, the Bensons, run it. So last year it was Mr. and Mrs. Benson. Unfortunately, Mrs. Benson did pass away. So this year it will be Mr. Benson with one turkey and his daughter, Justine, with the other.
Okay.
And it is kind of wasteful to put them up in hotels when they live in the same city as us, but it's part of the tradition and you just can't argue with tradition.
Obviously that not everything your family does is always going to make sense or be, financially responsible. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, right? I mean, you got to stick with what your family gave you.
And it sounds strange, like you said, if you're in the same town. But if you were driving out of town, then of course you'd put them in a hotel.
Absolutely. And this tradition's been going on since the 1940s. Actually, the tradition of the president's pardoning a turkey has been going on since the 1940s. We've only been doing it since about 2015. And that was actually before little Amethyst was born, when she was just a fetus, floating around in my uterus.
Just unicycling.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Obviously,
So-
DJ Dylan cut that out. I shouldn't.
Oh, sorry, sweetie. Mommy used your name again. So then we, the kids and I, bundle up and we go to the hotel and we get both turkeys out. And one we send right back to the farm. The other one we pardon. Last year, the turkey that we pardoned, her name was Salisbury Steak. The one we sent back to the farm was Chucklefucker. The kids picked that name. I usually wouldn't say something like that, but the kids picked that name. So then we pardoned Salisbury Steak. We brought her back to our house and we did a big ceremony, and we made all of our neighbors who weren't the Bensons, because they were already with us, come out and watch us pardon this turkey. And then I would put the kids down for a nap, and I would take the turkey out back, chop its head off, fully butcher it and defeather it, and then we would have it a couple hours later for Thanksgiving. Because I like to have the waste in the process be more on the hotel side of things and not on the wasting food. That is just too much for me. I just can't do that when I know that there's so many people struggling with food insecurity in America.
Yeah.
This confused me a little bit, because my understanding was that whenever you pardon the turkey, you aren't going to eat it. But it sounds like
It's wasteful.
maybe you're... Because you send the...
Yeah, I mean, Dr. London, you're coming from a very old school mindset that's not really environmentally friendly, that's not really conscious of, homelessness in the U.S. You just see, this is how the president does it, and I'm such a fan that I must just do it too.
Yeah. Okay, but my other question was...
And maybe that's not right for every family, Dr. London. Maybe.
So for those turkey names, I'm sorry to go back to this. So you said you have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Yes.
And between them, they discussed and came up with the names for the turkeys.
Well, since there are 2 turkeys and 2 children, they don't really come to a consensus so much as they each name one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So may I ask who chose which name?
Well, Zeus is our precocious one, so he came up with Chucklefucker, and Amethyst, Salisbury Steak was all her. That girl loves to eat.
Yeah.
A woman
Yeah,
after
that
my own
sounds-
heart.
Yeah, that...
And I mean, when you describe Zeus as a tennis ball on the bottom of a walker, now I fully understand what you're talking about. I mean, this
I
kid's
hate
got an
to stereotype
imagination.
him, but Tyers Briggs, when it's right, it's right.
Yes.
Not a sponsor.
So another really
I'm surprised that it's so widespread, the knowledge of that quiz. But I'm sorry, go on.
Well, with the free oil change, I mean, people are going to be attracted to
I
the
guess
offer.
Oh, for sure. And I'm actually more surprised that you've never heard of it, Dr. London.
Yeah, we usually don't use, all of those types of personality tests in medicine so much. Like, I'm aware of them, but they're not used so much clinically. Like, if someone were to tell me that their Tyers Riggs showed that they were a unicycle, and this is a hypothetical, not related to anyone present, whatever. If someone said that to me, I wouldn't change my medical practice, my treatments, my diagnostics based on that knowledge, I don't think.
And again, this is coming from an old school type of place where you haven't kept up with the times and kept up with modern medicine. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that you see that and you say, okay, well, how is that relevant? Here's some penicillin. When maybe they need a hug, Dr. London, and your test would tell them that.
Cameron, I have to agree with you. Dr. London, have you ever had a patient die?
Well, I can't. So you have some things that you can't talk about on this show, and I also have things that I can't talk about on this show. I haven't had a patient. I haven't told a patient to, well.
The pillow fell on top of the guy's face, right? I mean, it's like no one was, it's not like anyone was holding it.
Anyway, so the blog, so what else for Thanksgiving?
The next one that we like to do is we like to decorate a cornucopia, and we use them for centerpieces at the big dinner.
Oh, wow.
Yes. We always like to do themes. Last year was exotic fruits and vegetables, and this year is celebrity suicides of the 1950s.
Yeah, celebrity suicides. So I'm kind of blanking on I'm not as familiar with the celebrity suicides of the 50s. Can you give us a little sneak peek of, what you'll expect this year at your table?
I wish that I could, but, Zeus is going to listen to this, and I don't want to pit my kids against each other, but I do believe in fostering a little bit of healthy competition.
Oh, yeah.
I am looking for, when I judge these, and I do, have like an official rubric against which these will be graded. I'm looking for a certain someone's smashed up car. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Zeus. Forget I said that, Zeusy.
That's the fun of the holidays, is not knowing at first.
I will say Amethyst last year did win the cornucopia competition. She had an exotic fruit that I have never even heard of. It was, I think she called it a cotton candy grape, and it just blew my mind. Never heard of that before.
Wow. And where did she get it from?
Well, she actually worked with her grandpa to build hers, which was my dad, Robert. And then Zeusy worked with his paternal grandpa, which is my husband's dad, Timmery, which, I'm sorry, can I just say how cruel it is to name a kid Aimee Tambourine? That's awful.
Yeah.
So they work together. So it's kind of a team competition.
And it's a bonding experience, it sounds like.
Yep, we switch teams every 5 years.
And these traditions came from your side of the family, or are some from your husband's side of the family?
Actually, these first 2 I made up. The next one, great segue, is a pumpkin pie that we all like to make as a family, and that is actually my grandma Dorothy's recipe. So that would be my dad Robert's mom. We called her Granny Dots. She was a really fun lady. She
sounds like a heck of a cook too.
Yes, she was. She was just fantastic, and we all miss her so much. But her pumpkin pie recipe is something that our family treasures. It has a lot of things in it, and the secret ingredient is bourbon. And, Granny Dots didn't come to mess around. She puts that bourbon in after it's already cooked.
Wow. Okay.
So the alcohol doesn't burn off, and we all get a little,
The children too.
Yeah, and you're showing me a picture of this. It really looks like the pie itself is sort of in the shape of a cup.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's scoops in the like. There's actually not much of the pie part of it there.
It's like a bourbon float.
We bake. We take a steel mug and we put crust in it and we bake it, and then we fill that up with bourbon and we call it pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And some of these pictures you're doing tummy pie shots off of each other. I mean, it really does seem like it maybe is more about the bourbon than the pie. And honestly, I like that.
Yeah, of course. Well, Cameron, you're invited to our Thanksgiving anytime. I think you'd really fit in with my family.
Wow.
Dr. London, maybe.
Denied.
And actually, which side of the U.S. is this on?
We are actually in the Mitten State. We're in Michigan. So if that's on your way, or if it's not on your way,
no.
I'll pay for your plane ticket, Cameron.
It would be on my way if I were allowed to go that way anymore. Do you know what I mean? Michigan, glove state. Let me just say that some stuff happened near the middle finger of the glove state, the thumb of the glove state, and the pinky finger of the glove state. And they don't allow me in the palm area anymore. So
I fully understand. You don't need to say anymore.
but I'll drink bourbon.
If that ever gets resolved.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you just shoot me a text every time y'all do one of these pie body shots, I'll just do one at home
It's a deal.
and kind of have the same experience.
It's a deal.
One thing I'd like to ask. So you talked about how you left the drinking behind in high school. How that was part of your past, and now it sounds like maybe you've kind of made a pathway for yourself to incorporate drinking into just, you're calling it a food when it sounds.
I'm so sorry, Dr. London. Sometimes alcohol is used to cook. I mean, wine is used to cook. I mean, this is
Yes.
common. Even Jack Daniels is used to cook sometimes, Dr. London.
Yeah, it's just and I get a lot of drinks are used to cook, but given that the bourbon doesn't go through a cooking process, it is added afterwards, and as you said, body shots. That's the terminology we're using here.
Yeah, lots of pictures of people kind of sticking their tongue out and giving the middle finger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all with red
absolutely.
Solo cups.
I'm a little hurt, honestly, that you would throw my words back at me and question a tradition that has been in my family since Granny Dots. You know, may she, rest in hell or wherever she is. But I don't think that my sacred family traditions are up for scrutiny. And I say that with,
yeah, I'm so sorry.
no offense, but my family is the most important to me.
Yes, and I'm sorry to have, if that sounded like oversight. I was trying to see the connections here and whether there was any, but a lot of people only have a drink whenever they're with family once a year for holidays. That's, not so unusual.
And honestly, in high school, that was a lot of Mike's Hard, a lot of Boone's Farm, and now it's just mostly Maker's Mark. So, they're different. They're different.
Okay.
It's pie now. It's pie.
It's pie.
We like to eat
Okay.
pie. We like to eat pie in my family.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's that's a lot. Are there any other traditions? I feel like we're just getting them all from you here.
Those are our big three. Of course, the children, when they turn 16, they each get to create a tradition. So, Amethyst, she's been thinking really hard, but she's a unicycle, so it's going to take her every single day of the next 12 years to come up with a tradition that makes sense.
Oh, and then once she comes up with it, she'll be like, "No, I take it back," because she'll want to change it again and again. That's what unicycles do.
That's what unicycles do. But traditions are taken very seriously in the Tambourine household.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
has
sounds
Zeus
like it.
has he figured anything out yet, or is this he's still feeling it out?
I know that he already knows, but he is playing it pretty coy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does sound like Zeus. So, we didn't touch on this when we were introducing you, but I am curious. Your lifestyle blog. Do you have a sizable following? Do you have a lot of people who read it?
I don't know. Would you call 5 million people a sizable following?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, I would too.
Okay. And so they all go to your blog to just get advice about just living well, making, the pie. Do you share the recipe? I know it's a secret family recipe for the pie.
You have to be a Pie Time subscriber to get the pie recipe, but yeah, I'll give that up for about $20 a month in the month of November. I also,
That's
in
like a
addition to
Patreon thing.
Absolutely, it's Patreon.
That does sound like a Patreon.
It's a Patreon. I also have.
And you did say that on this podcast, so we own the rights to that. So DJ Dylan, can you write down Patreon?
Yes.
Okay.
Could you go ahead and file that? Yes.
I'm sure that we can all come together and launch that venue, launch that website.
Yeah, come together and agree that you said this on this show,
On
so
our-
we own it. So
yeah,
DJ
it's on
Dylan,
our
if you could just
podcast.
get that website,
Yes,
you
go
just
ahead
get
and-
all those
I
domains
mean,
on all
if
the
it's
domains.
if it's your IP, it's your IP, and I'm not going to fight it for a little PIE.
Yes.
In addition to my blog,
Oh, wow.
I also have a TikTok, and let me tell you, I spent all summer learning all those dances that the young kids were doing, and maybe I can't, hit the moves as crisp as they can, but I still have, just as many followers on TikTok as I do on my actual website.
Wow, that's really impressive.
And I see you're drinking something right now. What are you drinking right now?
What am I drinking? Okay, well, I like to call this the fruit salad. What I do is I go to the grocery store, I buy every fruit-flavored LaCroix, and then I mix them together in a big punch bowl upstairs, and then I scoop it out with a ladle and put it in my cup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
And I mean, listeners at home, these are the kind of tips that you can get if you subscribe to Aimee's blog. I mean, I never even thought about mixing combinations of LaCroix and then using a ladle to put it into a cup.
The ladle makes it feel really, really fancy. I also, on occasion, will make one of those decorative floating ice things where you pour water into a bundt pan and freeze it, and then you pop that out into the big punch bowl. And it's really festive in a time like right now when we're getting into the holidays and we just want to be festive all the time.
wow, yeah, it's we all have our habits of I guess eating and drinking, and a lot of people do love that drink, so it's nice to hear a new way to approach a common beverage. That being said, just the time's been running, and I hate to bring this up while we have a guest, but we do have these chores to do.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't.
Real.
Yeah.
You want me to explain it?
Yeah, if you would. I know it's another chore, but just to explain.
So for our listeners, for anyone who might be a new listener, we had a bunch of things on our to-do list, a bunch of chores that we've been neglecting over the last year. And so we're just trying to knock them off one at a time. And so we made this chore wheel. We spin it. We do whatever chore it lands on just to get it done. And I mean, look how many chores we've already done, Dr. London. This pile is getting smaller and smaller by the day.
We are
I
making
love
progress.
But unfortunately, it also seems to get bigger and bigger all the time, too. There's more and more stuff gets added.
Yeah, every day.
Ay.
Yeah.
But Dr. Lennon, can you give that bad boy a spin and we'll see what our
I'll
chore
try.
of the day is?
Yeah, let me get the slingshot out. Okay, it's going. Okay. And oh no. Not this one. Okay. So I have I can't. Cameron, can you read that? Can you read that?
Says Fritos last star. What?
Frito's last star. Okay, so
none of this makes any sense to me. Did you write this one?
I wrote. It looks
This
like my
is your-
handwriting.
This is your crappy handwriting once again, Dr. London.
Well, that's a harsh word. It's
we just talked about this a few minutes ago.
illegible would be the more accurate term. Unless
Aimee, can you make sense of this note? I cannot read this for the life of me.
All I can see is the Fritos. I don't get it.
Okay. Maybe we had a Fritos related chore, or maybe our chore is Fritos. Okay.
Well, Fritos. I mean, it says last. Okay, maybe instead. Okay, maybe it's not Fritos. Let's say maybe it's like friendly.
Do I know anyone named Frida or friendly? We can get this though. Like if we knock this out, then that is one more chore off. So we need to do this.
Okay, I think. Well, now that I kind of hold it out,
yeah,
a
with
little,
the light behind it.
It says, yeah. I think it says like Fruit Loop rank. Are we supposed to rank the? Are we supposed to rank the Fruit Loops? Is that what it's supposed to be?
It rings a
did someone
vague
assign
bell.
that to you?
Okay.
Should we just do that real quick?
Yeah. So, and this is
Or-
rank the colors of Fruit Loops.
Yeah, I guess like blue, red, I mean, are there new colors? I haven't eaten Fruit Loops in like 20 years. Why did you write this, Dr. London?
And look, I don't really remember that well, but I mean, as far as I recall, I think I got a call from a potential sponsor, and they were saying like, well, first I said, well, this is Cameron stuff. I don't do sponsor talk until I have a copy in my hand. But they were like, well, you don't have to, it's not a real sponsor, just for now, for a test run, let's just do this Fruit Loop thing. And I guess it was ranking them. So, okay. How do we...
I just said blue, red, yellow, purple, maybe orange.
Okay.
That's the order. Are we done? Is that the chore? This is pissing me off.
Yeah. No, and that's on me too. Maybe me entirely. Okay.
Oh wait, maybe it's upside down. If you flip it.
Oh,
and you kind of.
Oh, it is a picture.
A picture of what?
Oh, I think that's a microphone. And I think I meant let's record the podcast, which makes this whole exercise feel like a waste of time.
Yes. Yeah, I am furious right now. You have wasted my life right now.
Yeah. No, I am.
You wasted
sorry.
time with our guests
I know,
to do this.
Aimee, I am so sorry. But that being said, would you mind ranking Fruit Loops? Just in case that was it.
I'd be happy
I guess we
to.
do have to do it.
Well, I'm going to start with red because, traditionally red is just a really bright and beautiful color. Then I'm going to go orange because I think that will look just adorable next to red. Yellow. Yeah, yellow. We're going with yellow for next. Then green, which is a beautiful color. And I've heard it's not easy being that color. So that is also fun.
I heard that rumor as well, and I feel for them, and we've gone out for protests for green people.
Then after that, I am going to go blue, which color of my son's eyes.
And that's why you ranked it 5th.
Yeah. He is a really smart and precocious young man, but just the eyes are kind of a shitty color of blue.
Yeah, the worst part of
Oh,
them.
wow. Yeah. Kind of creepy almost.
And after that, I don't know if I should call this color indigo or violet, but I am going to call it amethyst instead. And that means purple. So
And that's ranked even lower than your son's eyes that you called,
well, she's a unicycle, so
oh yeah,
do I need to say it?
You're not even going to be talking to her for that much longer. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, when she gets that tradition, if it's not a good one, she's out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just gonna rank them like the rainbow because all the flavors, if you can even call them that, taste exactly the same to me.
And just like a rainbow, if you were to taste a rainbow, taste the same.
That is a completely different thing, Dr. London. You're getting into Skittles territory, and the last time we got into Skittles territory.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we have our bases covered if the exercise, the chore wheel, was to rank Fruit Loops or to record a podcast.
Yeah, so I guess General Mills, if you're listening, thank you. And
we look forward to the sponsorship.
Yeah, and do whatever you want with those. I just don't understand what you could possibly do with that information. They seem like equally distributed, so I don't see how ranking them can have any effect. And as Aimee pointed out, they taste the exact same.
Well, but the colors are different.
That is true, and that is why I ranked it, the way that I did.
Yeah, it doesn't bear repeating.
And so General Mills, thank you, and we'd love to have them on our show, honestly. All of them.
Yes.
Yeah, all of the Mills. We would love to have all the Mills on the show.
The whole family, yeah.
All right, well, I feel like that's
General,
a good time
Lieutenant, whoever.
to kind of wrap this up. We did all of our chores. We learned a lot from Aimee Tambourine, the lifestyle blogger. All right, is there any way that listeners can follow you after this, Aimee? I know there's the website.
Yeah, absolutely. The website 321 take Aimee, the number 3, the number 2, the number 1, and then my name is AIMEE. That's my website. I of course have links to all my socials there, but my username is pretty much the same, except for on TikTok it is Aimee No Pants. I don't want to really explain that one. You're gonna have to check that one out. And yeah, it's been so great meeting both of you and spending time with you, and maybe we can make this a tradition.
Yeah, maybe.
Can we, just as we're going out, just one quick 5-second, exclusive lifestyle tip?
Oh, yeah. Let me custom make one for you two. Okay.
Based on our tires rigs?
Yes.
Not a sponsor.
Okay, Dr. London, since you are deflated, I am going to suggest that you look into some light aromatherapy and some positive affirmations. What I want you to do is get a little bottle of mint essential oils, and I want you to, every morning when you wake up, I want you to go into your bathroom with your mint essential oils. I want you to uncap it, put the cap down on your sink, hold it up to your face, look yourself in the eyes in the mirror, take a big whiff of that mint, which is just going to wake you up better than a cup of coffee, I promise you. And I want you to say something that you like about yourself. So what is something that you like about yourself that you can say tomorrow?
Well, I mean, what I have now won't last that long. Okay, tomorrow. What do I have going on tomorrow? Okay. I currently have, no, I can't say running water. I currently have the ability to stand, and that's physically standing up is something that I've actually prided myself in for a long time. I used to be really good at it before, but I guess it's always been my thing, really.
Being able to stand is something that no one should take for granted. It is. Yeah. It's huge. And you can celebrate that every single day.
And one of the bravest things you can do is stand up for yourself. And that means, putting 2 feet on the ground and holding yourself straight up without falling over even once.
Oh, good. Yeah, that did make me feel better. Okay.
My lifestyle tip for you, Cameron, would be to check your smoke alarms once a year. And I think that's about it.
Ooh, that is actually going to be an issue because so they were making some noises from before, and so I sort of put like a soundproof dome on each of them. But now I can't get to them. But I know that they're safe. Because you check them once a year because you're worried that they're unsafe, right? That someone tampered with them or there's bugs in it and stuff.
They're ill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or that they're sick or anything like that. So I know that's not the case because they're permanently sealed in that sort of soundproof dome that I have covering each and every one of them.
Okay, well then I guess you can improve upon perfection.
Yeah, no, I'm a snow tire baby. What can I say?
All right, well, I guess that's it for now. So thank you to our guest, Aimee Tambourine, the lifestyle blogger. Thank you to our producer, Cameron. Thank you to DJ Dylan in the house. Aimee Tambourine, the lifestyle blogger.
I'm having such a great time being a mom and a blogger, especially now as we move into the holiday season. Dr. London, have you ever had a patient die?
Yes.
I'm a little hurt, honestly.
That you would have the patient die.
That you would
Have the patient die.
die. Die.
Die.
Die.
My name is Dr. London Smith.com, and this has been the Jock Podcast.
See ya.
Get out of my life! You shriek as you run out the door. It had seemed like such a lovely occasion with family. You had walked in with your dish, somewhat perturbed by all of the confused looks, but then relieved once again when you saw the roasted turkey on the table. You had set the dish down and taken a seat at the table almost immediately, saying a quick prayer before digging into that moist turkey. At that point, of course, your hand was slapped, and voices were raised in question, edging from politeness towards anger. Words floated in the air like, "Who are you?" and "Why are you dripping wet with what smells like sewage?" But you had heard quite enough. This family looked wholesome enough, but it obviously was not your family. So you picked up that empty dish that you had brought in and trudged on to the next home, ready to meet your family. Speaking of love from your real family, don't forget to leave a 5-star review of the Jock podcast, which you share about your very normal Thanksgiving holiday experiences that are actually quite normal. And consider supporting us by becoming a patron on the Jock podcast Patreon. And while you're at it, go ahead and share the Jock podcast with a friend or foe. You can send them a link to your favorite episode, or just send them our handy website, jockdogpodcast.com. And don't forget to take a peek at our posts on social media. We are at Jock Podcast. Thanks for listening.